So we had one of those rare down days. I don't even remember what those were like. A rare down day today. The question is like how significant of a down day. There was a very interesting pattern that was inside when you read between the lines. A very interesting development today. So I'm going to break that down in today's market outlook video and kind of see how significant it is. There were some signs, like some signs we haven't seen for the past few days that cropped up today that would suggest that the potential for more weakness to come. So I'm going to break those down, take a look at all of them from an intermarket standpoint, from a sector rotation standpoint. All of those, all the different relationships that we typically discuss in these videos were flashing some signals today. So we'll break that down, including the big one. There was the big one that really stands out. Then we'll take a look at like, okay, what's my expectations now? Are we going to start to have more weakness, or is today the low? Are we going to bounce off of this? So I'm going to give you my thoughts based off of how I'm reading the different charts with different signs, kind of on both sides. So we'll weigh them, break all that down, as well as our trade idea of the day. We'll take a look at a stock that was in one of our weak sectors that itself may be breaking down even more than the market. So we'll break that. We'll talk about how to trade that, as it's a very common pattern that we're seeing today. So let's go ahead and get started. Today is Tuesday, August 19th, 2025. This is the market outlook from marketscholars.com. My name is David Settle. All right, let's go ahead and get started with the S&P 500 on the market forecast indicator like we always do. You can see another down day today, down 0.6%. Third down day in a row. We are still above the moving average, about 1% above it. The intermediate line's down, but still above the 80th percentile. That's why we have the dark green shading still. The market sentiment line's down, but again, still above the 80th percentile. So it doesn't matter which way these lines are going, up or down. If they're still above 80, they're still strongly bullish. Now, granted, they are pointing down and does lead you to, for the potential of going further lower, though as of right now, the intermediate line is still above market sentiment, which is still a positive, and it's just barely crossing below the 90th percentile. So it'd probably take a day or two of more declines to get below the 80th percentile, at which point we'd have the weakest bearish trend you could possibly have. Now that can transition, as you can see, from light pink shading into dark pink pretty quickly. But when it's still up here, you're still strongly bullish, and the initial transition is to a weak bearish posture. The short-term sentiment's down, but that's hardly bearish at all. You can see, like for example, when we started this bearish decline over here, the momentum line dipped down to 3, and the momentum right here on this day, the near-term line dipped to 27. The next day, the near-term line dipped to 3. And the momentum line stayed there second day. So like you still had a strong bullish posture. Intermediate line was still at 82, even though you were below the moving average then by almost a full percentage. But you can see just how bad short-term sentiment gets when you start a bearish intermediate posture. So that's not the case right now. The near-term line's below 20, but I mean, it can't be any less below 20 than 19.99. That's where it is right now. The momentum line is down, but it's not extreme. See, these got to extreme below the 5th percentile. This was not extreme. This is not even close to being extreme. So it was earlier in the day at the lows, but it's so sensitive. It has to finish at the lows with a much bigger posture, much bigger range than the normal average. So it is a bearish short-term sentiment, but it's not that bearish, right? It's still, by definition, this is still a bullish intermediate confirmation signal like we had 2 days ago. But this time, 2 days ago, the near-term line was still at 54. This time, the near-term line's down in bearish territory, and it's flirting with oversold, but it's not, significantly oversold. So again, this is another buy the dip signal. This is an opportunity for the markets to bounce. Now, it doesn't mean they will, but there's a higher probability that they will, based simply off of this pattern. Now, I'm going to break down in the rest of the video a lot more patterns I'm seeing and kind of build my expectations off of those. But that's what the market forecast is telling us here on the S&P 500. The Nasdaq 100, very similar. The intermediate line has crossed the market sentiment line here, so that's a little different story. It almost has crossed the 80th percentile, but still is avoiding a significantly bearish short-term sentiment, like the type, again, our last intermediate decline that we had. We're still missing that kind of decline. that we're getting here. We're still, like I said, about 0.5% above the moving average there. Otherwise, looking very similar to the S&P 500. The Dow Jones, a little different, right? Because it's been, remember, lagging and finally catching up and got a new all-time high on an intraday basis today. The intermediate line still above market sentiment, still in the upper reversal zone. Market sentiment is falling, but still itself above the 80th percentile. So we're still pretty strongly bullish. And yes, like the momentum line did jump a little bit. It was oversold yesterday, and the near-term line was at 51. Now the near-term line's just below 40. Again, in bearish territory, but not oversold. So an opportunity here for a bounce back up to the upside. So we just got a bull tag. We just had a good week last week of kind of bouncing off that bull tag. So that's looking really good. And then finally, your Russell 2000. You can see, it's still maintaining some weakness, almost, 0.75% to the downside, but its intermediate line, again, dropping, but still above the 80th percentile, still above market sentiment. Its market sentiment line is not above the 80th percentile. And you can see the near-term line is below 40. The momentum line is oversold. So again, by definition, we have a bullish intermediate confirmation signal with the near-term line in bearish territory. So this is about as classic of a buy the dip signal on the market forecast pattern as you can get. So now, like I said, there's other patterns and other charts, and that's what we're going to end up breaking down now. All right, well, that does it for our Market Outlook preview video. The rest of the video you can watch on MarketScholars.com. To unlock the rest of the video, you need to be a subscriber, starting at the foundation tier, just $29 a month, or $299 a year. If you want to go with the annual rate, you get 2 months for free when you do that. With that, you get access to the full version of the Market Outlook video, as well as the trade idea that comes at the end of the video. So every day I do an example trade idea. You also get access to the Market Outlook live video. It's a live stream we do at 3:30 Eastern time every day. We manage all the trades that we've done in prior Market Outlook videos, talk about whether we should stay in them or get out of them, as well as putting on that day's trade before the market closes. And then you also get access to our Market Outlook live trade tracker, where we track the results of all those trades that we take on throughout the year, again, comparing to the value that you spend to get access to the full versions of these videos. That's all in the description below, so click the link. There's also a link to today's blog post with all sorts of information. You only need a free subscription to get access to the blog post, so that link's down there. And again, the access to our foundation tier is down there as well. So click on that, and thank you again for watching. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit that like button down below. Share the video with others. Comment on the video. Let me hear what you're thinking. Follow me on Twitter at DavidSettle42 for more content between the videos. Join us at Facebook as well as LinkedIn, all the other social media channels. Have a great rest of your Tuesday night, and we will see you all tomorrow.